this kind of setting and circumstances. Musa, with his background and his history and how he was and how he has become, and then here Fir'aun and all this kind of context related to to show us the appropriate method and approach to deliver da'wah, content and method of the deliverance to Musa at these conditions. But also, at the same time, it is also showing us the required clarity, in which most of the time we lack. And Musa was very concerned about any ambiguous and confusion in his delivering the message to Fir'aun and his people. So the clarity, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, is an obligation on the messenger. وَمَا عَلَى الرَّسُولِ إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ الْمُبِينُ. Balagh means the message has to reach in a sound and clear way to the targeted people who are there. Also, the third theme here is to distinguish between revelation and poetry, and between messengers and poets, and those all going together. And so we need basically to emphasize one, and then we go and bring the second theme into the same level. So in the story of Musa was also, as we said, presented in Surah Al-A'raf and also in Surah Taha. And the matter in Surah Taha was just to show how much Musa alayhi salatu wasalam is favored and honored by Allah, and how many bounties Allah has delivered to him to save him and to empower him, to lead him, to guide him, to protect him, to bring him, to raise him, actually. وَلِتُصْنَعَ عَلَىٰ عَيْنِي. Musa was really designed and brought up by Allah himself direct to be able to discharge this great challenge and this great problem. Here, the focus is not that. The focus is the method, the appropriate method to be delivered clearly in such setting and based on the background and the history of these people. And so we can see that the first request of Musa to Fir'aun is an arsil ma'iya bani Israel. And that is he's telling Fir'aun, whatever you do, it's bad, I disagree, I don't like it, but I'm concerned about one thing. One thing is injustice to these people has to stop. And these people must be freed. And this is the essence of the message Allah has sent me to you. So, I mean, how do you make these priorities? You come to somebody saying, I am the highest God of all of you. And people sincerely believe and worship him, and has the might and the tyranny and all these things. And then at the same time, part of what he is doing is a injustice to certain sect in his society. And we know in Surah Al-Qasas, he has been doing basically the effective means to disempower people. There are 7 or 8 means been mentioned one after the other in Surah Al-Qasas, and these are the best and the most effective means to disempower people, and you stay always holding the power. And those are basically, Fir'aun is just an example, but all students of Fir'aun are using the same means and power and approaches to disempower this group against that group or to protect his power. So as we know, Musa was, and again I think we emphasized that last time, we get to emphasize that again. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him script, exactly what to say, and you follow this, and this is what you say. Musa is smart. Musa is genius. Musa is clever and brave and strong, and all of these are there. But Allah said, all of these, just put them aside and take the script and follow it when you deliver the message to Fir'aun. And so this is, again, as we said, also Shu'ara. Shu'ara is the politicians and the media. This is the main Shu'ara of today. The artists are not that many that having great influence in the society. Politicians and media are our Shu'ara of today. And so how do you connect and communicate with them? This is a serious matter that Muslims should give a lot of attention, training, and approaching the right way. As you realize, none of us is better than Musa, nor better than Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to all of them, though they were given script and they were told precisely how to deliver the message. So we know Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, when he envisioned the task, the challenges, and provided suggestion for solution. So from the minute he get the message, he envisioned the road and all obstacles there and what he expects from Allah to help him to overcome those problems and to deliver the message correctly and right. So that's why Musa said, قَالَ رَبِّي. قَالَ رَبِّي. Say, I am surrendering, I'm listening, I'm willing, I'm obeying. But let me say this. See, telling to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah knows exactly all of these, but you are the one who is going to be doing the job. You get to imagine creatively what are problems expected and what you suggest. Though Allah could have telling him, don't worry about it, just go. No, it is a dialogue, is an order, instructions, and call from Allah to this great man with a task, and then immediately this commissioned person, a messenger, has come up with with vision to see exactly what is expected to be faced in his role. And we honestly have to know these expectations of Musa are not imaginary. It is imminent to happen. As if because he knows the situation and he lived there and he knows the people, and also with the clue Allah has given him, as if he's saying, I see this and I see this and I see this, Ya Allah. So he said to him, what are the challenges? And he also suggested the solution. Now, the major concern of Musa, as we said, that something might come up hindering or make the deliverance is not effective as it could be. And this is maybe from external sources or from internal sources, from within himself or from the audience of him. So he knows the power of speech and talk and giving proofs and evidence, persuasion and conviction to these enemies. These ideas comes in a very intensive way into your soul or your nafs, and you feel like you need to speak so quickly and to grab all of these ideas to deliver the message. But once you start speaking quickly to give the impact, you miss some, or you misrepresent, or you mispronounce, or you misconvey the right terms. And that's why he said, يَضِيقُ صَدْرِي وَلَا يَنْطَلِقُ لِسَانِي. The expression they say, لِسَانُكَ أَطْوَعُ لَكَ مِنْ بَنَانِكَ, means, do you expect your fingers to disobey you? Absolutely not. Well, do you expect your tongue to disobey you? Yes. And that's exactly what Musa is saying. My limbs, I know, they are always fully obedient. I trust them and I take this for granted and I never worry, unless there is physical disabilities. But the tongue is connected to feeling, to self, to internal world, to thinking, to ideas, and it get to follow smoothly, eloquently, professionally with those stream of thought and stream of thinking in the nafs of Musa. And that's why he said, Arsal ila Harun. It doesn't mean instead of me, Arsal ila Harun, because Harun has eloquency and he is a good speaker. He is not saying that. He's saying just as another layer to guarantee excellent delivery, support me with Musa as a helper, and so on and so forth. So now, as we already realized, Fir'aun is not naive, is a smart leader, and so he right away directed the talk to Musa and ignored Harun. So they said, you remember, in Allah, inna Rasul Rabbil Alameen. This is a big statement, has so many implications in it that it looks like just normal. No, said inna means me and my brother, Rasul Rabbil Alameen. Oh, Musa will realize, it's not me who is Rabbil Alameen, means I have another Rabb, and I'm among the creation of someone else. This is immediately, but it is not direct, that you are marboob, you are among the creation of Allah, you are not Rabb. It is indirect talk, but they didn't focus on it. Just give it in Surah Taha, said, Inna Rasulu Rabbik. We are messengers of your Lord. Explicitly to tell him, you're not the Lord. You are marboob, you have a Lord, and you are a creation of the creations of Allah. So Fir'aun got the message, but he went to, he get little confident, so that he has something against Musa. So he brought those things against Musa, and he told him, as we know, a statement in a form of questions, but he was not waiting for Musa to answer. It's just confirmation. Those questions called as'ila taqririya, means here one fact, number two, number three. These are facts. I'm pushing them and slapping you on your face about this. What are you going to say about it? He can deny it. He can say anything about it. So he put them in terms of questions. That's to tell you how was he is genius and eloquent to speak, instead of exploding and say, I am the Lord of the world. What are you talking about it? And get mad and angry about the first statement. He took the time and come up with the good question, but actually statement and facts, stating facts in the face of Musa alayhi salatu wasalam. Alam nurabbika fina walida, we have raised you since your birth, walid. You are just infant, and we have raised you. And when you have spent a lot of time on this, I don't know, maybe 30, 25, Allahu A'lam, even some say 4 years. And then look to the excellent expression of Fir'aun وَفَعَلْتَ فَعْلَتَكَ الَّتِي فَعَلْتَ. He could have told him bluntly, you killed someone and you have to pay the ransom and fidya and being brought into justice before anything else. No, he said, you did something bad and you know it. Instead of telling Musa, which is what everybody knows what is it, but the way indirect and in a very polite and very elegant way, he said to him, and you did what you have done that you know it, and you were among the unbelievers. Unbelievers, as we explained last time, either you were just like us, and you claim right now we are believers, or you denied our favors on you. Shame on you. How can you come up with this idea and you come bluntly to talk to me this way, and I raised you and I change diapers and bring you water and food and sustain you. It's shame on you to speak that way. So, أَلَمْ نُرَبِّكَ فِينَا وَلِيدًا وَلَبِثْتَ فِينَا مِنْ عُمُرِكَ سِنِينَ وَفَعَلْتَ on top of that وَفَعَلْتَ فَعْلَتَكَ الَّتِي فَعَلْتَ وَأَنْتَ مِنَ الْكَافِرِينَ. That's why Musa alayhi salatu wassalam was also able to counter this statement by saying فَعَلْتُهَا. Yes, he only admitted this one. فَعَلْتُهَا إِذًا, then, mean that time. I did it then when I was going astray. And now we need to understand the unbelieving different than going astray. Messengers always believe in Allah, but they don't know who is Allah until they get revelation. And Allah told the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, وَوَجَدَكَ ضَالًّا فَهَدَى. Oh Muhammad, you were found going astray, and Allah put you on the straight path. So Musa saying, denying the unbelief, denying the accusation of Fir'aun, but also admitting that, yes, I was in need of something to take me back from going astray into the straight path. And then he said to him, the message is an أرسل معي بني إسرائيل. So ففررت منكم لما خفتكم فوهب لي ربي حكما وجعلني من المرسلين. So because of what I have done, I ran away, afraid of you, to basically to survive my life and to rescue my life. And then he said, when I was there, Allah has given me one thing and commissioned me to one thing. حكما and وجعلني من المرسلين. وهب has given me. Hukm is rulership. And the question really, what is a rulership? What is a ruler? A ruler has power. That's okay. Ruler, the essence of ruler is a decision maker, judge. And then he used the power and might and means and media to execute and to implement and to reinforce. But first is to make a judgment. Rulership, the first task of any ruler is to make a judgment. And then once that judgment is made, whether it is a decision or a decree or a statement or order or instructions or so and so forth, or award or winning or canceling or calling for and so, it is really the essence that is in the word of hukm or rulership is a decision making. And once that decision making then can use all the means that he has. So Musa said, وَهَبَ لِي حُكْمًا, given me the ability to make right judgment, to make right decisions, to make a statement that are facts and that are reality reflected in my statement. And at the same time, give me hukmah, he point me as a ruler to guide you, to instruct you, to teach you, to take you away from the darkness into the light. So I am the ruler, not you, Fir'aun. So that is habli hukman, all messengers. Allah has said He has given them hukm and nubuwah and made them messengers and hikmah. So now we go back again. The hukm or rulership, as I said, one component of it make decision and exact, right, correct a statement, judgment. But also, it has also in it a wisdom, and the judgment and the decision will not be good if they are away from the wisdom. And we see here where Allah told him, okay, Fir'aun is a big problem, big mess. Where are you going to start? Forget about all of this. And here the first priority, tell him what you are doing to Bani Israel is gross and injustice. Send them free and be afraid of your tyranny and injustice. So here the priority, here the hikmah, where to start. In a soft way, in another verse, Allah told him, قَوْلًا لَيِّنًا. So there is, as I said, decision-making, ability to make good, sound judgment, and also ability to set up the priority where to start. That is the word hukmah. And then he said, جَعَلَنِي مِنَ الْمُرْسَلِينَ. If I have these qualities, I'm the only one qualified to be a messenger, to lead, to guide, to inspire, and to enlighten the others who don't have these qualities. And this is something that Muslims need badly in this society here. People around us, you cannot blame them, but you can blame the Muslims. Unable to interact with this hukm, with this good judgment, with the sound decision made, with the sound priorities, with the sound where you start. This is what it is. Everybody just jump and say, okay, here's the Islam. Come here, I'll tell you what Islam. Here the Quran. Here Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That is the poor, or actually the wrong approach. When you learn hukmah, it was prerequisite for all messengers and for all reformers and for all those called da'iyah and callers to Allah to have first hukm, which is, as we said, sound judgment and good decision makers, and also wisdom, where to start and how to prioritize your your job. And then جعلني من المرسلين is just only as a result. I'm the one who is qualified, taught, learned, given, empowered, and inspired, and definitely, automatically, I should be the messenger to lead others into the straight path. So, and then Musa alayhi salatu wassalam got another bullet in his pocket, and he telling Fir'aun, وَتِلْكَ نِعْمَةٌ تَمُنُّهَا عَلَيَّ أَنْ عَبَّدْتَ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ. This is a big statement. He makes Fir'aun as small as an ant. I mean, you are proud of making my people, your citizens, as slaves? Is that something makes you proud of it? You disempower them, you weaken them, you murder their children, you abuse their women, you deprive them from all the basic rights. Is that something really to be proud of, or to brag about it, or to use it to dismantle my message? This was a powerful statement, and that's why Fir'aun has to run away from this, never reply to this. He can't say anything because Musa definitely nailed him down. وَتِلْكَ, And this question, again, exactly the same style of Fir'aun. It's a question, but it's not a question. It is a statement. It made out of form of a question that Fir'aun has absolutely no way to say otherwise. وَتِلْكَ نِعْمَةٌ تَمُنُّهَا عَلَيَّ أَنْ عَبَّدْتَ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيل. Look where Fir'aun went. That's it. Stop. And he said, forget about all these things. You were here and we brought you up and we did this and this and this. Forget about them. He lost. He lost the first round of debate. He lost. So he went somewhere else. Where what? Where his people believe in it. And he is basically inciting the people to proclaim their faith and their support to their God. So he just went right away to the other side. قال فرعون وما رب العالمين. Now you remember the first word Musa told him. إنا رسول رب العالمين. At the beginning, he thought he has something greater than that. He will push it into the face of Musa. Musa was definitely capable to throw the truth into his face, where he has to nail down and go and look for something else, not continue the discussion or demonizing Musa or putting him down and claiming all those things that he did. وَمَا رَبُّ الْعَالَمِينَ. And look now what Musa has gotten the ball in his court. And he's kicking it hard and very good way. So once he gets that question, actually he was looking for that question from the beginning. He was not looking really to discuss the matter of Bani Israel and slavery and tyranny and all of this, not. Or how he was born and raised and so on and so forth. He was looking to tell him who is Rabb al-Alameen, who is Allah, to teach him that. Once he was very happy that he was able to direct the discussion and dialogue and the debate into his direction where he won. قال رب السماوات والأرض وما بينهما إن كنتم موقنين. رب العالمين is it? Look at the statement of Musa. Go from رب العالمين, which is general statement, to a little detail. رب السماوات والأرض وما بينهما. Not just ومن بينهما. The Lord of heaven and earth and everything in between them. إن كنتم موقنين. Now, the question, how the yaqeen is going to come to them? Musa alayhi salatu wasalam has ambitious goal, and he's willing to go down that route. Is, do you have yaqeen? Do you have certainty that Musa Fir'aun owes anything? Or he is the Lord of anything in heaven and earth? Anything? Absolutely not. What he claimed, أليس لي ملك مصر وهذه الأنهار تجري من تحتي. That's what was his biggest claim, to prove he is God. He is asking people, don't you see that I am the owner and the king of Egypt and all these rivers running beneath me? Musa knows that. And he said, رب السماوات والأرض وما بينهما. How certain you own anything? Even those rivers, even this country called Egypt, doesn't belong to you. And you are not Lord of it. Everything in here is belong to Allah. I am certain, and you are just guessing, has no certainty. In kuntum muqinin. So Musa, Fir'aun got real angry now because he's losing one time after the others. So he's again trying to invoke the people around him to basically push them to jump into the discussion to support him. قال لمن حوله ألا تسمعون. Definitely they heard it. Okay, he is sitting there, and these people here, and they have witnessed the whole discussion and understood very well everything has been said. But look, he's again put it in a question. It means, and you are silent. You have heard all of this, and you are silent. That's what Fir'aun is saying. قال لمن حوله ألا تسمعون. Musa didn't give him a chance to listen to the answer from his people. قال ربكم ورب آبائكم الأولين. Oh, Musa, Fir'aun get real angry. قال إن رسولكم الذي أرسل إليكم لمجنون. Now, he just told him question didn't you hear what he says? And you are keeping quiet. And Musa hit him second time, third time, fourth time hard. So Pharaoh basically losing it. And he said, instead of saying, this messenger was sent to me, or the one who claimed as a messenger to me, he is just putting himself as a third party. And this is to you. But they never said, Musa and Harun, they never talked to the people. They sought exactly to Fir'aun himself. فَأْتِيَا فِرْعَوْنَ فَقُولَا لَهُ. They never addressed the people around him, nor the nation of Egypt. But now Fir'aun, seeing that he has no more tricks and to continue the discussion and the debate, so he's turning this into the people. And honestly, this is also wisdom. Wisdom is get the input from the thinker, from the leader, from the assistants, from the poets around you. So get people engaged in the challenge and in the matters. Don't take the matters in your hand by yourself, and you have all these resources. So قال ربكم ورب آبائكم الأولين. قال, here the Quran even omitted the word Fir'aun. قال Fir'aun means the قال. إن رسولكم الذي أرسل إليكم لمجنون. Look what Musa said immediately. Hit him again. قال رب المشرق والمغرب وما بينهما إن كنتم تعقلون. Now Musa have given facts and statements one after the others. Fir'aun has absolutely nothing to say about it, nor to argue, not to refute, not to reject, not even to think what to say. And Musa giving him no chance to breathe. قال رب المشرق والمغرب وما بينهما إن كنتم تعقلون. Now the anger being expressed. قال لئن اتخذت إلها غيري لأجعلنك من المسجونين. And look how his word, harsh and very soft, really, express how he is a fail. I mean, someone before Musa was claiming taking God other than Musa is not going to be imprisoned, is going to be dissected in pieces and killed. And many has done like that before him. Now, because the fear in his heart and in his mind, and he is shaken, he said, I'll put you in jail. That's just very light punishment to this crime that you have been using against your people, and so on and so forth. قال لئن اتخذت إلها غيري, but also his firm. If you, I will certainly أجعلنك من المسجونين. Now here the smart man Musa. Well, if you go further, he can put you in jail. I mean, what can you do? He has all the power and might, and he can send the God. So now the time. He never mentioned the miracles he had. This is the time for them where he has to subdue Pharaoh and his threat and throw him out of his way. قال أولو جئتك بشيء مبين. Ooh, that is shocking and nailing Pharaoh and taking away his anger, and he cannot actually continue executing his threat by putting Musa in jail. There is something else. قال فأت به.
Muhammad, should we take a stop here, inshallah, or pause?
All right, inshallah, jazakumullah khair. May Allah teach us more, make us understand the Quran and practice it, and learn the qualities and attributes of Musa alayhi salatu wasalam in talking and communicating to the people who are way less than Fir'aun. People around us, kind, generous, understanding, willing, listening. Way, you don't have to talk to Fir'aun. Wallahu alam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
May Allah bless you and reward you for the effort and the teaching. Before we start the question session and answer, inshallah, there are more people joining us. I would like to welcome them and appreciate their participation. Brother Michael, Musa, and Dr. Sarab, and also Dr. Ramazan. welcome, and please join in and have your question if you have anything. So, okay, who would like to start the question for today? Okay, Ziad, go ahead.
السلام عليكم.
الله وبركاته.
جزاكم الله خير. Sheikh, about the vocabulary in the Quran, the word ذنب and the word when they said وَإِنَّ وَلَهُمْ عَلَيَّ ذنب as a singular when it's a murder. Why Musa says for the ذنب to cover the murder, Sheikh, as if the murder was something common back in the day? Because ذنب is something simple.
Well, Musa is talking from the point of view of Sharia, that it was an accident killing. It was not premeditated killing. It was just unintended consequences. He just pushed him, and then the guy died. That's the strength. So Musa, from a point of view of Sharia, definitely the relative of that killed person screamed to Musa and said, we are going to get you. And if we are not the son of the king, we would have nailed you here. And Musa has to run. So the qisas, the attribution, the justice was not established, whether the people who have the right of the blood of the killed person were not forgiven nor paid compensation or listen to remorse from Musa. So though Allah has forgiven him, but you know, this kind of action has two factors, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then the second one is the inheritors who have the right of the compensation of what happened. So though he was forgiven from Allah, but Allah will tell him these people are deserving something. And so from that point of view, what he is saying them, wallahu alam, according to Ibn Ashur and other mufassirin, this is what he's saying.
When he says also فَقُولَا إِنَّا رَسُولُ, for inna for plural, but rasul is singular.
Yeah, technical language. I mean, in Arabic, instead of saying, there are places where he said rasula by pointing to two, and here just as we know is just to see what is poetry, what is Quran. So rasul is another form, is just rasula.
Now, Sheikh, do you think that the story and the way Musa approached the Pharaoh is applicable in any era, or it's just for different era, different way to approach the ruler and take down the tyrant?
No. It is a practical lesson to all Muslims after, if the conditions and circumstances are same. And there are, I just said, there are Fir'aun is just a frame, a profile. That profile, it does exist today. And if you are going to face the Fir'aun of today, definitely you have to have in consideration what exactly Musa had been taught by Allah, the best method to approach those extreme tyrants.
Wallahi, ya Sheikh, I think the Pharaoh himself is not worse than the rulers nowadays, because you cannot get to them to talk in the first place.
There are a lot of good things about that Pharaoh, because he was kind of little democratic and he was engaging people in the discussion and not taking everything by himself. That is true. And also that is the question I was just ignoring. He was accessible. Imagine this person coming from another country, has been running away, and he has been his name posted, wanted everywhere, and he was given easily access straight to the king, and start giving him hard time. And this is not imaginable in our time.
Either just my comment. Either that he was a bit democratic, or he was so overconfident about his wit and the knowledge, and because majority of such people, they do not expect their subordinates to counter them. So they in themselves they become like they are the most wisest person on this earth. So
Good. So
yeah.
when good point. So when the guard told Fir'aun, Musa here wants to talk to you, Fir'aun was very confident. Musa, come on, bring him here.
Yes.
I have against. So what can he do? Okay, that is good point.
Exactly.
Assalamu alaikum. Can I say my opinion? I think Allahu A'lam, it could be that he wasn't confident enough. That's why he knew that they believe in him by force, and if they listen to logic that Musa is bringing up, he was trying to prove otherwise. This is why he was talking to them. He used all the manipulations, first with making fun of Musa and all other ways, and dialogue tricks to try to convince them. He was worried that they will believe Musa. Assalamu alaikum.
That is also a good point and valid point. Fir'aun, he was afraid of some cracks in his close circle because of the way Musa presenting the message and the bravery in Musa to come all the way and to be blunt that way. So his first worried not to have crack in his subordinate and his closer close circle. But you know, Musa has learned, Fir'aun has learned a lesson. When Musa alayhi salatu wasalam killed the Egyptian man and ran away, they were sending the guard to capture Musa and bring him to justice. And they were debating what to do with him. This is another place. And once Fir'aun opened the debate, he got what? People from his own royal family and those who representative in their Congress were saying to Fir'aun, you cannot kill him, and so on and so forth. And you see this qissat al-mu'minu ali Fir'aun. Half of Surah Ghafir is explaining that debate, which given Musa time to run away because they were not able to come up with a decision what to do. Yes, we can capture him, but what to do? They were unable. That gave him the chance, enough time, because the debate went on and on and on. وَقَالَ رَجُلٌ مُؤْمِنٌ مِنْ قَوْمِ فِرْعَوْنَ يَكْتُمُ إِيمَانَهُ. He is a believer, and he was keep himself silent, and now time to speak, and he spoke. He gave them 3 speeches, all very long, and made them confused what to do. And Musa ran away. Jazakallah khair. Yeah, that's a good point.
Michael, go ahead, akhi.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. I think this surah is really like the model for da'iyah, and I've not at this level, but I've experienced this before, where you try to give the message, and people who aren't interested, they try to take you off track or ask you irrelevant things. And so I think this is like a must read for everybody interested in doing da'wah and all that. And I don't know, is there, talk about maybe is there something psychological when people, they don't want to hear it, or they find these ways to divert the person giving the message,
Jazakallah khair. That's a good point. And actually not those da'iyah. For every Muslim in this country, they need to learn, they need to be trained, they must memorize it and get into the deepest part of all elements of this. Is what is it? The surah is about how to give da'wah effectively in such conditions and circumstances. And we need it with no doubt about it. Jazakallah khair. As you probably know, people nowadays, as you know, they jump and say we have 5 pillars of Islam and 6 pillars of Iman, and that's it. And then we go around the Kaaba 7 times, and that's the end of it. Okay, Musa never spoke about any of this. He gets one Rabbul Alameen and move on. Okay, Jazakallah khair. Good.
One question, Sheikh Muhammad. It seemed like the situation or the condition, or at the time of Fir'aun and the condition our time right now, it's very similar. when one of our Pharaohs or president say or do something, still nobody can stand up to him and correct him or advise him. And even at that time, I mean, if you make the analogy, Musa, even he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have his brother Harun with him. And here we didn't hear anything from Harun in this occasion. Also, the only voice we heard from that man. So they are just 3 individuals that spoke at that time. I don't know if we're missing the point here, but I'm saying people are silent nowadays and at the time of Musa.
Well, no, okay. Now, the people, general masses, they don't know, and that's why when he asked for the magic to be shown to the whole people, also he was afraid. He was confident that he's going to win, and then he was afraid if the people are going to follow Musa. But here, no, the people around him, they have spoken, and we will come in another part of the surah. They put their input. They did something, and we will come to it in a little bit. So they were not silent at this early stage of the da'wah. They were just listening, and probably they are in a state of shock. If Pharaoh himself unable to respond good, effectively, and to silence Musa, what are we going to say? We have to think about it deeply, and we will find out in a little bit what they say.
Yeah, okay. Any more questions, inshallah, before we conclude? Okay, Sister Karam.
Assalamu alaikum. I have a question. Sh.Hilali, there is I noticed that in Surah Taha there was the same sentence but with the letter. There is قال فمن ربكما يا موسى. He used man instead of in Surah Shu he said وما رب العالمين. And we know that ma is to ask in Arabic about the kind, and man is who he is. It's for aqil. So I was thinking he did answer in Taha, since it wasn't, this question didn't have putting down or making fun of him. He just asked a regular question. So Musa answered that question, and he said, the one who created and guided. And then in Ash-Shu'ara, it was obvious that he's trying to make fun of what Musa is saying, his God. And he said, Ma Rabbul Alami, that's what kind of he is. So Musa didn't answer that question. He ignored it. And he came up with another point that proves, exposes the Pharaoh. And he said he's the sustainer of the skies and the earth forever. That was before you were born, before you existed. He sustained all these things. So that exposed Pharaoh in front of the whole everybody that he's lying and he's not a god. So does that teach us that when somebody is asking for the sake of, or talking for the sake of making fun of our religion, we ignore and go in different direction to prove otherwise?
Yes, that is exactly what is it. It's somebody, وَلَا تَسُبُّوا الَّذِينَ يَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ فَيَسُبُّوا اللَّهَ. Allah said, if you find people that cussing Allah, do not cuss their gods or cuss them, because if they are worshipping other than Allah, don't cuss them, because they're gonna cuss Allah. So ignore them, and exactly that is what is not the issue. The issue is not you are offended, you are going to offend them. Issue here, I think, people, for us, we need to see the sequence of a statement that Pharaoh on one side, and the sequence of the statement of Musa from one side, and we will discover how these powerful ways Musa used and Allah gave him and inspired him to nullify and to dismantle all these arguments that Pharaoh has to use and fool everybody around him. And time has come where the truth is coming out and shattered all this darkness and all his argument. Wallahu a'lam. Jazakallah khair.
Any more question before we conclude, inshallah?
I see Michael, his hand is up.
I think he had his question. Not anymore. Okay. طيب, we conclude inshallah, and we will continue next week. May Allah bless you and reward you for attending. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us and guide us, and we conclude our meeting. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.
جزاك الله خير.
السلام عليكم. السلام عليكم. ضروري تسأل